Okay. All right.
We're the United States of America. Unity and oneness is what we're made of. One nation under God, it's plain to see. We're showing the whole world what a country should be. United we stand in America, hand in hand in America. Together as one in a land that we love. United we stand in America.
Good morning, everyone out there. Welcome to Changing Times. It is Wednesday, July the 29th. We are live at the Axe Media Group headquarters in Springfield, Missouri. This is show number 302. I was just taking some notes and not paying attention as we started the show this morning. But, you know, Stephen Paul McCollum is the gentleman from Lee Summit area, up in the Kansas City area, that actually sung that song. He's a Nashville star, been in Nashville for many, many years and used to travel all over the country. And he's still now traveling, but instead of singing just mostly country music, he sings patriotic and Christian songs. That's more my liking. I bet that's more your liking too. Christian
Absolutely.
songs and patriotic songs and stuff like that. So Stephen Paul McCollum, we hope to get him on our show sometime soon and let people really get to know who he is, because he is an awesome person.
Yeah, he's been busy this 250 celebration.
Oh yeah,
of the
he's been
country.
asked to go everywhere. He sings a lot of veterans events, senior events, and things like that. Kind of changed his philosophy of life towards the older years of his life and things like that. But so today, I just want people to know today is the day. Today is the day that people need all around this country and around the world. If you're looking for hope, because when we started this show over 5 years ago, there was a lot of people that did not have hope. And a lot of it had to do with COVID. Some of it has to do with our government. Some of it has to do with all the other happenings in the world. There's a lot of things that we don't approve of and we don't like and stuff like that. We still have the greatest country in the world, and that's what he was singing about a while ago. You know, united we stand, together in one. Those are key words about our country. And so today, what we're going to do is interesting. Jim Whining and I have been talking about our show that we've been doing, Changing Times, now for over 5 years. And we understand that a lot of people are watching live, and we really appreciate it, all over the country. And we appreciate you today. We appreciate those loyal people, and be sure and share that with other people if you like our show. But we also realize you don't have 50 minutes. Most people today will not sit still for 50 minutes. And so when we don't have a particular show that we're lining up, a particular topic, we're going to talk about critical issues in this country that affects not only our country, but around the world. And there are issues that we can talk about in a shorter period of time and make you think. We want your opinion. So here it goes, 4321 ACTS@gmail.com. So write us, send us a message, 4321 ACTS@gmail.com. I'm telling you what, we appreciate your opinions. If you wanted us to do a small show on any topic that you can think of, be sure and let us know, and let us know what you like or don't like about our show, because we're doing this for you. This is
And
your
we
day.
know everything, right?
Well,
If we don't know, we'll find out.
Some of my guests know. Some of my guests know everything. God knows everything. I'll tell you that for sure. And this is the day. This is the day. Right now, today, so many people are going to die from car accidents. I just saw a shark accident yesterday on the news. I mean, I'm telling you what, so many things can happen in your life, and your life can be over. It's over. When it's over, it's over. Okay? And so today is a day that if you want to have hope for eternity, and someday we're going to talk about what eternity is. Maybe we can get Dr. Paul Collins to talk to us about what eternity is. A lot of people don't understand that, okay? We're just here for a short period of time. God has put us here to do certain things for a short period of time. And then after that, it's over. So do you want to live the rest of your life with family members and friends for eternity with God and Son? Or do you want to be in hell for the rest of your life? I mean, that's your choice today. So if you'll send a message to 4321-ACTS, ACTS at gmail.com, we'll tell you how to find Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Today, today is the day. Okay, so here we go. So Alex Bryant, you've been on our show before, and you're one of my favorites. So he is a very smart man. And you're going to talk about some of the Missouri amendments. I think Amendment 3, which is in November, but I want people to think about it because it's about abortion.
Yeah.
An extremely critical issue that splits the country up.
Yeah.
It definitely divides people. And then Amendment 4.
They're related.
Yeah, they're
Yes.
related, and that's people petition initiative. We wouldn't have legalized abortion in this state had it not been for initiative petition, because just a few parts of the state passed that, and the rest of the people did not. And guess what? We haven't.
Yeah.
So you go ahead, and we're going to spend about 15 minutes kind of listening to how you think about abortion Amendment 3 and Amendment 4.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on your show.
You're welcome.
Lynn and Mary, it's good to be here when you're here.
Yeah,
and
it's always a pleasure to have you.
And congratulations to do a show for 300 episodes.
Well, that's Lynn's doing.
Well, it takes consistency.
It's God's doing.
Yeah. And it takes
lots of good people.
It takes faithfulness and it takes consistency, and I appreciate you both being committed to that. We do a podcast, and we're at like episode 335, and it's like you got to do it every week, and you got to be faithful, you got to be consistent. And so thank you guys.
What's
for
your
that.
podcast called?
It's called The Way We See It, and we're not digital because I'm not as good looking as you two. I noticed that you put Miss Mary first so that people can see her first.
Oh yeah.
But ours is audio
I'm smart
only.
enough to know that.
Ours is audio only, and so but anyway, we just talk about a lot of different stuff: theology, politics, religion, sports. I always got to throw in some of my Chicago Bears, in there. So
Well, they're all related.
they're all related. It's things that interest me. People that I'm so random, and people that follow me, they're like, what does it say about me that I follow your randomness? I'm like, well, you're weird like I am too. So, but anyway, when you think about in Missouri, we are going to be going to the ballot here in the ballot box in August, and then again in November.
Week.
August 4th. It's next Tuesday.
Yep.
And then we'll
I'm
be
an
going.
election judge.
That's awesome. Thank you for serving.
Well, that's part of the citizenship we're trying to encourage here, and it's not a matter of necessarily of party. It's just if you want your country to function, you have to fill in these roles that are part of the functionality of our governance system.
We need people to serve, and we need people to volunteer. That's really what it's about.
This is only in Missouri, it's 3 times a year because we do our locals in April, our primaries in August, and then the statewide election in November. So it's not like you have to do the same thing every week. You just have to show up 3 times a year.
Well, thank you for serving.
Well, you're welcome.
Well, we're going to go to the ballot box, and there's 4 amendments on there. There's going to be one big one in November. For me, I'm a minister. When I was doing radio every day for 3 years, when in November of 2024, when Amendment 3 failed, and we in Missouri went from being one of the most pro-life states to one of the most pro-death states, and it was by less than 100,000 votes. And when you go and do the autopsy on it, I mean, there's a bunch of us that believe that Christians just didn't show up and vote our values. And so we're encouraging, if you're a Christian and live in Missouri, we are encouraging you to get out and vote for life. For me, I'm voting yes on 3 in November. That is the bill that's going to basically right the wrong of allowing abortion to be in our state. And I've been traveling around. So for my ministry, I talked to my board, and Alex Bryant Ministries, and I'm on the road usually for the last 7 years, 35 to 40 weekends a year. I preach somewhere, half the time out of state, half the time in state. Half the time. Yeah. So, and I'm just spreading the word. I wrote a couple books. We talk about those things. this year, last November, I started talking to my board, and I'm like, I'm a little bit tired from traveling. I want to be home for my family a little bit more. And I was just like, I just want to kind of take a few months off and just seek the Lord for what's next. And the president of my board's a gentleman who's like, well, what would you like to do? And I was like, well, I know that this abortion fight's coming to our state again. It's either going to be on the August ballot or November. And I knew this is back in December of last year. And I said, what I'd really like to do is just travel the state and talk to pastors to make sure they're aware of what's going on. Oh. And so we started to pray about it. And, we started to meet and think about what would it take to do that. And I got a team of 3. We got a budget that we have to raise. I got to raise. It's not just me. It's salaries for other people. And so we just kind of figured out I'd probably need about $50,000 for that, 5 to 6 months of doing that. And we just began to pray, and the Lord just began to be faithful and provide. And so that's what I've been doing for the last 2.5 months. I've already met with about 84 pastors in our state. We're talking from up in the northern part of Missouri to Kansas City. I've been there twice. Yes. St. Louis, yes. The Lake, Ozarks, Branson. I was there yesterday. Columbia. All around here. Been to Columbia. Yeah, I'm going all over. Anywhere that there's a pastor. And I'd say this: if you're a pastor or if you have a pastor, I want to come and have a cup of coffee with them. I want to make sure that they understand what we're talking about when we're voting in November. And so for me, it's not a political issue. It's a theological issue. That's right. It's a moral issue. And I believe because a lot of pastors, and specifically I'm talking with black pastors in St. Louis and Kansas City, because traditionally they look at, pro-life as a political thing. Yeah, Margaret Sanger did a good job, didn't she? I just think that's just a palatable way. Are you pro-life or pro-choice? That's just a palatable way of saying, are you okay with killing babies? And I'm not. And so I'm having conversations with them, and so we're just making sure they know of what we're voting on. So Amendment 3 is going to be on November, and it is, we're protecting life. Now, they do have the carve-outs for rape, incest, and the health of the mother. Yeah. Polling shows that 83% of Missourians would support an abortion ban if there's the carve-outs. And so this is a bill that the legislature gave us. I myself, as a pastor, I wish there was no babies being killed. Well, and we tried that in the last round, right? We tried it, yeah. And that's why it failed. Yeah. Is because there are people on the fence who said, I'm against abortion, but I can't make those decisions for somebody else. And I get where their head is at. Yeah. I do too. It just goes to show you, though, that you're still willing to kill part of God's creation if it didn't come in the you might say the optimal way. Yeah. Well, not everyone has the faith and interpret the scriptures the way some of us do, and that's the electorate. That's the beauty of being in a democracy where people get the chance to cast their vote. And so you look at right now the abolitionist view, which is no babies, no carve-outs, or the pragmatic view. And this is a very pragmatic bill that I am supporting because that's where the people are, and I would rather see us get the win in protecting the life of many of the babies with those few carve-outs. And then, while we educate people and continue on. So that's Amendment 3. It also has provisions right now, currently, if you talk about the transgender issue. Yeah. So currently, right now, kids can't, first of all, I believe that God gave adults free will. If people want to be, gay, bisexual, transgender, they can do what they want to as adults. God gives us all free will. But when we start to talk about for children, that's a different story. And when we overturned the laws that we had in place in November of 2024, it allowed an open door for kids to begin to socially transition in schools. Yep. Kids can now talk to their guidance counselor in school and say, I got these right-wing parents. They're these crazy Christians. I was born a boy, but I feel like I'm a girl, and they can start to socially transition that kid in schools without the parental consent by calling them the pronouns they prefer. Right, and that's not explicitly written in the law, but it's because of the vagueness of the language. The vagueness of the language, yes. And now in November of next year, they're going to be able to start to actually transition these kids because the laws that were on the books will fall off and they're sunshine, and so they will start to next year be able to transition these children, puberty blockers, hormone therapy, and sex change operations. And here's the thing, Planned Parenthood, that phrase makes it sound like it's adults talking about pregnancy and reproduction, but they're the ones who are a large part of their budget now is going towards the sale or
the distribution of those puberty blockers.
Yeah, for children.
For children.
Yeah,
That's not about parents. That's
not
about the children.
It's not. And you know, the crazy thing is, Missourians, when I talk to pastors, they don't know this stuff. They think that stuff's happening in California or New York. It's happening here.
That's right.
And so we have to make sure people understand what we're voting for. And so in November, when we talk about Amendment 3, I'm voting yes to protect life and to stop our children from being harmed, you know, and stuff. So now I also want to mention, because, you know, that's in November.
That's right.
We have 4 amendments that we're going to be voting on here in August, just next Tuesday. So the first one, Amendment 1, is a conservation bill. It's if you want to help fund parks and recreation. I do. That's already, we've been doing that forever. And every 10 years we have to re-vote on that. And a yes vote is saying, yes, we vote for state parks to fund state parks and so on and so forth. We've already been doing it. It's no new tax. It's just, do you vote to continue it? That's what a yes vote would give you there. And then you have Amendment 2. That's up in Jackson County. I used to live up in Oak Grove, Missouri, so shout out to all the people up in the Oak Grove area in the east of Kansas City. And their county assessor, I think it is, they're not, they don't have that vote elected position like the rest of the state.
They're appointed.
Yeah, they're appointed. So they're just saying, hey, do we want it to come in line with the rest of the state? I'm voting yes on that. It doesn't really affect me here in Springfield, although I just think it's fair, whatever. And then you got Amendment 4. That's a big one. That is Initiative Petition Reform, IP reform. Mm-hmm. So that is about the way that the general public gets laws on the books to get voted on. So right now, the public can petition.
Which is what November's Amendment 3 is about. It's about getting a law on the books through the Constitution.
And then I want to just point out the difference is Amendment 3 in November is brought to us by our lawmakers, our legislators. That's not an initiative petition.
No, it's not an initiative petition.
So that doesn't,
but it's a correction of the initiative petition from the last time.
So we need to make sure, though, here's the reality. It is too easy to get an amendment to the Missouri Constitution.
Right now we have bingo.
There's about 126 amendments in the Missouri Constitution. There's only 27 in the U.S. Constitution. Yeah. Over the last 3, 4, 5 years, bingo has become legal, or abortion has become legal. Online gambling. Just think about our young men, and women too, that can do online gambling. But I think about our college young men who are having it sent to their phone, DraftKings and all this, and they can start gambling right now, get into that bad habit. And then what about when they get married 3, 4, 5 years down the road? They have this addiction. They're going to start hiding it because they're losing money from their wives. The families that are affected, that's become legal because it's easy to drop money into St. Louis and Kansas City to get the liberal parts of our state to vote on this and say this is the will of the people. And then even weed, that's become legal over the last 3 or 4 years because it's just too easy. Right now, all you need is 50% plus 1 of the vote from the general public to get an amendment to the state constitution. We got to change that. We need to make it more difficult.
Right. It's a lot of out-of-state money that knows how to do targeted marketing.
That's what they do.
And they target those cities in particular.
That's exactly what they do.
Columbia was the other one.
Yeah.
And they spend hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Just a lot of money.
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
And if the rest of the state doesn't turn out and do the correction of that marketing campaign, the rest of the state loses.
And that's generally what's happened. Yep. You look at those issues, weed, abortion, online gambling. Most of Missouri is conservative. I travel, I'm around the state. Most of it is very conservative. We have to have Christians and conservative people getting out and vote. I'm voting yes on this initiative petition amendment. Now, what the change is going to be, instead of just 50% plus 1 of the general electorate, you have to have 50% plus 1 in each of the 8 congressional districts.
Right.
And so, it's some people that are opposed to this say if we vote this in, then we're allowing St. Louis, because that's pretty much our conservative district, is going to be to stop anything that we want that's a conservative amendment. Now, I hear that. I understand that argument. I don't think that this is a perfect
then go
bill.
through the legislature.
Yeah, you can go through the legislature. I don't think this is a perfect bill. People are saying if we do this, we're going to take away the will of the people, our right to put up a amendment or a change. Not a perfect bill. I get it. I see that. I would argue, though, the flip side of that.
It should be hard.
It should be hard. It should be hard. And we can't allow outside entities like George Soros, even Steven Spielberg, who drops outside money in on this abortion fight, Act Blue, to come in and just entice St. Louis, Kansas City, and that little pocket of Columbia to get these liberal policies that we have to live with. So we got to make it more difficult.
I talked to another speaker who's pro Amendment 4, and he said if you do the analysis of these petitions that came through the petition initiative process and then became part of the Constitution, zero number of those new amendments were conservative.
None of them.
None of them.
And it's because we have, for the last 20 years, and you know this, Lynn, you've
so
served
for
up there.
conservatives to make that argument saying it takes away our right, and I'm like, you haven't exercised your right,
It's true.
and you can always go through the legislature, which is where you should be going.
No.
It's the progressives and the outside money that know they can circumvent the legislature by doing this.
Yeah. Well, and again, Lynn, you were up there, you served, and we know that we send, for the last 20 years, a conservative House, a conservative Senate, a conservative governor.
That's the will of the people.
That's the will of the people. And so I'm voting yes on 4 because I do want to protect and I want to make it harder, more difficult to change our Missouri Constitution. And so
I think you've got 5 votes right here in this studio.
Well, there you go.
One of the things I want people to realize is that, and this is a danger point for me, our U.S. Constitution is only about half the size. Think about that, 250 years. Our founding fathers and God created the Constitution. What we just celebrated just a few weeks ago, celebrating 250 years. So they created that, and they haven't made that many changes. But our Missouri Constitution is more than twice as many pages as the federal Constitution.
Yeah.
That should make you kind of wonder, do we have things in the state Constitution that we don't need? Are they things that could actually be hurting our state? I think so.
I do too.
And Missouri's targeted.
Yeah, we are.
They want to make a example out of how they can change a conservative state.
Yeah.
Well, right now we know that abortion's legal, and they're going to drop a lot of money in there, and they're using the will of the people, which is the same argument that these outside entities are given for us to not vote for Amendment 4. The will of the people. They're trying to say that they're trying to give the fear that we're going to take away the will of the people. But I reject that. I'm voting yes on 4.
Right. They control the narrative by making it a threat, and preying on that emotional reaction that says you're taking away my liberty.
Yeah.
When actually, in fact, they've been doing that for a long time.
Yes, indeed.
Okay,
So, yeah.
Amendment 5.
Amendment 5, for me, I know there's a lot of people that are just uncertain about it. Basically, this is to try to eliminate the state income tax. This is one of Governor Kehoe's, his top priorities that he basically ran on. And I'll just say this, I wasn't a Kehoe supporter. I was with Jay Ashcroft. But since then, I've gotten to know Governor Kehoe with my work on Amendment 3. I've been on about 4 or 5 different calls with him.
He's very pro-life.
He's Miss Claudia Kehoe. That's her number one deal. And Lynn, you know this.
Right.
If it's my wife's deal, it's my deal.
That's right.
And that's exactly.
If Mama ain't happy, nobody happy.
And so,
You're exactly right.
And when you get to know them, they're good Catholic people, very astute, and they are very pro-life. And the governor, I will add this, is raising a lot of money to help combat this Amendment 3. I've been on calls with him where he's asking people. They're going to do a fundraiser here in September here in Springfield to raise funds for that. But Amendment 5 is his deal, and this is what made me decide to be in support of this amendment. I know there's some holes to it. There's questions about what entities are going to be taxed later on. Is real estate people? They're not. They're against it. And they're going, well, how do we know they're not going to tax us later? Tax real estate, which could be detrimental. Ag, that's not. They're against it. They're going, there's just too many holes. Now the governor has come out and he's talking about this all over the shows, and he's saying, listen, I plan to be here for another 2 years, and then I plan to be another 4 years after that.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're going to make this thing right. But his point is this: Missouri's been stagnant for 25 years, and there's no denying that. We're not had the growth. We've not had it. Now we are getting ready to come into another industrial revolution. This is what I believe. The last one was the computer revolution of the late 90s, the early 2000s. With AI, artificial intelligence, we're getting ready to come into another industrial revolution. I'm looking around this room, and I'm not calling anyone old, but I'm the youngest one in here, and I'm not necessarily down with AI. I've seen all the movies. I think it's going to take over and destroy us all, but that's coming, and either we're going to win the the AI race, or China's going to.
Right.
So that means data centers. That means computer chips. That means all these companies that are investing in that, even the robots. It's coming to the United States because we have to win this race. I want Missouri to be a player in getting to get those jobs, get that economic growth. So we have to get rid of the state income tax to be more competitive with these states that are surrounding us. And so the governor's planning to do this. I trust the governor because this governor has the most business experience than any governor we've ever had before. Lynn, you know this. You're a businessman.
Well, actually, Alex, when I was serving and he was the lieutenant governor, he and I talked one day about his dream. If he was ever elected governor, he was going to eliminate the Missouri income tax. Now, he said that years ago.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, and we have to appreciate that there was a time when Missouri didn't have the income tax.
There was.
That was a progressive governor who got that put in place. And frankly, what it did was create the taxes were going up so fast at such a high rate that was the incentive for the Hancock Amendment here in Missouri that put a cap on that. And some of the discussion is, well, this Amendment 5 would eliminate the Hancock Amendment. One, it doesn't repeal the Hancock Amendment, but you don't need the Hancock Amendment if you don't have income tax.
Yeah, there's a lot of, this is the thing, because I've talked to several lawmakers and I'm like, man, I wish that they would have answered a few more questions before they proposed this, right?
Well, they worked on it for, I think, at least 3 years. It's Bishop Davidson that was drafting this thing.
I agree with that. However, even when they were drafting it, there was different factions on how we go about doing it within the Republican Party. Yep. So I wish they would have got a little bit more together, but this is a first step. It's not like it's going to be, never can be changed, never can be amended. I trust the governor. I trust his overall plan. Yeah. I'm voting yes on it because I think we need to be competitive.
It's not a timeline schedule of implementation. It's got the stopgaps for monitoring when to go to the next phase. Yeah. It's not an absolute.
Yeah. And for me, I know there's questions, but I mean, I'm a father and, I got a family of 5 and I know this. There's times that I've had my plan and I'm like, we're going to go, and my wife or my kids will start asking questions that I maybe necessarily not know the answers to, but I'm like, we'll figure it out. Yeah. And they trust me to know that Dad's wise enough, he's smart enough, he's got enough of the plan together that last little percent that we got to figure out, we'll do it along the way, but we have to do something.
And we're not doing this in a vacuum. There are other states that have already done it. Yeah. Tennessee is whipping our butts.
Yeah, they are. And they're attracting
have no
people.
Income tax.
They're attracting people, young people that are wanting to stay in that state. Yeah. We have to do something because we've been stagnant in Missouri. Yep. That's why I'm voting yes. I trust the governor. I do think he's going to have 6 more years to put this in place. Now, if at the end of these 6 years, it turns out that it was wrong, I'll be the first one to come back on your show and say, hey, I was wrong for trusting the governor. Yeah, but right now, we elected him. Let's give him a chance to enact his plan.
Yeah.
Very good.
So I have to agree with you on that. And if they'd actually read the bill, they would see that there is a plan in place, not for cutting, but for replacing the different sources of income from the taxes.
I think they've done a good job on that because, just like you're saying, there's like the if-thens is what I call it when I tell people, and so there's a lot of good stuff in place. I'm trusting, I'm voting yes on all the amendments. That's where I'm at. Yeah. And August 4th.
So
very good.
One of the stats on this is that on average, $3,000 of each family income goes to the state for income tax. And if you don't have the income tax, some of that $3,000 will get shifted to paying taxes on a different service. Yeah. But and fees. It's going to be your discretion as an individual to determine whether or not you're going to spend the money on that service or that product. And so you are in control of it rather than the state just siphoning off your dollars.
And that's the big thing. It's a trade-off. I mean, we're not trying to say, because like schools are saying, well, we're going to get hurt, we're going to lose money, the entities. Well, people in theory, you're still going to be able to collect the money, just different people based on what your lifestyle is. You're going to have to pay taxes on different things and fees. I do think that fees are going to go up. I'm not trying to be naive about it, but
there's a cap on how much that can be elevated to.
Yes.
And actually your county taxes will go down.
And the governor has said there's certain things that they're going to protect.
Let me just say, and we're going to have to switch subjects. But I would just say, let's be cautious about county taxes going down. I wish they would. As presiding commissioner in Christian County, a very fast growing county, I wish our taxes would be going down. But the way Christian County is that we don't have enough tax income already, and I realize taxes are too high. But so when somebody says our taxes are going to go down, I'm trying to figure out sales tax has gone down for 12 years in a row. And so sales tax going down, internet sales going up, we've got a problem in the county. The second thing is property tax and personal property tax is going up to all our citizens. At the same time, we only get 1.6%. That's all the county gets. And we've already spent that money in the first 3 months. And the school's got $75 million at Nixa, where you're at the school board. Ozark, $75 million. We got $900,000 for the entire 98,000 people to run the county. So I'm really worried about when they tell me that taxes in the county level is going to go down. I wish they would, because I want everybody's taxes to go down, but I'm not sure how I'm going to pay the bills.
Yeah, but Lynn, you're leaving, you're retiring, so you can just promise it and let the other guys deal with it.
Well, but I tell you what, I'm still going to live.
Terry Bible will have it next week.
I'm going to live in the county, and I want this county to continue to do really good. So I'm worried about it. I'm worried
Terry
about
on
it.
the show last week.
But hey, so let's talk about education and technology.
Yeah, because
Good job, Alex. Good
there's
job.
a segue when Alex mentioned AI and the new revolution. What we have to appreciate is that it is the Wild West. And right now, talking about taxes, it is driving a huge part of the budget of the local school districts. So the question is, as the federal dollars shrink for education, because under this administration, we're not printing money the way we did under the previous administrations. That means if you're not printing money, you're trying to stabilize that federal spending. But what happened is, with the glut of the, it wasn't generosity, it was recklessness. And lack of consideration that there are no free lunches. There are no free lunches. They were printing the money, sending it out to the states and saying, here, particularly that COVID money, spend this on, it wasn't just stabilizing your schools when they send it to the state departments of ed. It always comes with strings attached. And the strings attached were, we want you or we recommend highly you spend this on technology because your schools aren't open with these COVID closures. And that's what they did. So what you had was this glut of federal funds that had an expiration date, that was encouraging the sale of products, namely the laptops, that have an expiration date, right? You have to do life cycle funding of these things. And once you do those purchases, what you are now, you're a victim of entrapment into this mandated renewal, right? You're going to have to buy new computers now. And they were loaded with software called educational, which was a wide open term. What is really educational? And how good was the quality of that educational product? So now the schools not only have these laptops, they have contracts with vendors for the apps that the prices rise every year. So now what I call that is commandeering your budget. And it was orchestrated from Washington. And the states are just, because nobody really stops and thinks these things through, they're happy to take the money. Missouri got $2 billion for this stuff. Happy to take the money. They get locked into, though, this commitment to taking over the costs once the federal dollars expire. And this is what Kehoe is saying. We can't take that over. And we had every department has to this year for their budget had to make a 20% cut because now we have to get weaned off this reckless distribution of funds from Washington. Well, I've got news for all of the districts. This is going to happen again next year. You're going to have to cut deeper. And I was listening to superintendents say, very downhearted, saying, now we have to think about who we're going to cut. And I said, what if it's not who, but what? And what if you're cutting the technology in these early grades? Because what we've got now that we didn't have 20 years ago is neuroscience and brain scans of very young children who were basically became addicted to screens in their early development, and the cortex is different. And you've got these kids now on this addiction for dopamine hits, right? It's not just cell phones, it's the laptops in your classrooms that keep them engaged. The kids are not being educated, they're being trained to be engaged in screen time. And the schools are paying for it because policy from Washington, which was taken over by Ed Tech in the Obama administration, right? I can name names as to how that happened. But basically, the U.S. Department of Ed was seeded with people from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And the policies and the programs like Race to the Top and the Innovation Program was run by people that were connected to the Gates Foundation. So what was their agenda? Well, to create the market, a permanent, perpetual, expanded market with your public dollars to buy ed tech. And they paid lip service to the requirement. This is written in the Every Student Succeeds Act. This is in federal law, that they have to be evidence-based materials. Well, why do you need to rush that if you've already got the government behind you saying you have to have it? Yeah. It's kind of like the vaccines. There's no research on many of these vaccines because there's already a federal protection that says you can't sue the companies. So why should we do the research? That would be a more expense than we're willing to pay out for safety. Okay, and the same thing is happening in ed tech with some of this software. And when we start distributing these iPads to kindergartners, then what we're doing is hooking them on these screens, and the brain processes this digital information differently than it does print.
Can I just say this to you, Mary?
Yeah.
I'm going to echo exactly what you're saying.
Oh, thank you. I was hoping you.
Well, from two perspectives.
Yes.
Number one, my kids. When right after COVID, when we went, we still had 4 of our kids that were in school. We moved to Nixa, and they give everybody their Chromebooks. They seem smart. It seems like a great idea. So then a couple years ago, I get on the school board. So I'm on the school board, and I know exactly what you're talking about. They gave that federal money to get Chromebooks, but now, and they starting to claw it back. And so now we just have meetings this past summer on, okay, well, how are we going to continue to pay for them? At the same time, there's something inside of me because I'm a little bit old school. I'm seeing my kids who want to be on their screens when they're at home. They're on their screens at school. When do they ever not be on their screens? And so I've been looking for articles that are showing some of the detriment, and I'm starting to introduce some of those to our school board, our superintendent, and questioning, how much do we really want to use these Chromebooks? Now, I will say this, in Nixa, they are starting to move away from the younger kids having those screens, Chromebooks, because they're going to start to look at introducing them later on in a student's life, like not just kindergarten.
That's right.
And we're going to start looking at going back to old school paper homework. Now, I'm going to say this thing too.
Go ahead.
My older son never missed assignments. My youngest son, Josh, he's a senior. He's probably my smartest kid. If he listens to this, it'd be literally, your kids. I got 5 kids, 4 boys.
We're going to let the other ones didn't hear that.
Josh, he tells them all. And I can't deny it because he just processes so quickly. But that kid, he's a senior, wants to be an engineer. He's, 31 on the ACT. He's trying to get to a 33, 34 so he can get to Vanderbilt. He looks at his classes and processes, okay, I know that I don't have to turn in 17 assignments and I can still get my A.
He's already done the statistics.
He's already done it. And so we were having a conversation with my oldest son, Trey. Trey's like, I would never have done that because I had to walk up and hand mine in to Mrs. Leatherman. And if I didn't hand my homework in, she'd say, Trey Bryant, where's your homework in front of the class? And I mean, so
he's playing the numbers, but he's not getting an education.
That's the thing. It's like so we have to, as a society, look at how much do we want our kids on these screens all the time?
Yeah.
And is old school always bad? Should we always go to just because you can put it on a lap book? Yeah. They don't have books anymore. The reading, they know what to scan. A lot of them are finding ways to circumvent it through using AI. I have kids, I'm an adjunct at Evangel, and kids tell me after the fact, we get it off of AI, you cut and paste it into your Outlook mail, then you cut and paste it into your Google Drive,
right.
And then you can submit it back and the AI won't detect it. They already know how to cheat.
Well, here's the thing. Yes, I agree. AI is here. It's underdeveloped. It is not only not perfect, it makes errors regularly. And so you always need the human oversight
True.
Of whatever AI tool you use. That said, as schools, if we're interested in education and we know this is the landscape, that students are falsifying their submissions, saying they did it when it was AI, okay? That's fraud. We are teaching them to be fraudsters. The thing we have to appreciate about AI is it's okay for teachers to use it. It will cut their administration of the classroom work time. It can give them additional resources. I've seen some very interesting things from Google about that. But giving teachers the tools to do their job is different than creating addicts out of our children.
Yeah.
Okay? So AI for the teacher, fine. AI for the students? No.
Yeah.
So, Mary, can we go back a little bit for those young kids, kindergarten and maybe the first 2 or 3 grades? Are we going to go back to a little bit of textbooks? Some type of written? I mean, because surely, one of the things we just heard on the news, I think it was either yesterday or the day before, just in the last 2 days, computers, cell phones are going to be costing so much money in 27 that they're starting to have lease programs for everybody. And for the first time in a long time, nobody's going to be owning their phone. Mm-hmm. They're going to be leasing their phone out, and it'll be a lot cheaper, and they're going to be making monthly lease payments. And schools will have to be doing that too because they
will be at the mercy of the vendors who keep raising the prices.
Keep raising the prices every year. So this is what they're talking about. Technology is going to start costing a lot more. That was national news just 1 or 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So where does the school district get its money? Out of the pockets of the residents who are paying the taxes.
And people are already upset about property taxes and personal property taxes that fund the schools, and so now what are you guys going to do? I'm old-fashioned too, and I like a combination. I'm still not very good on computers, but I just okayed. I told Mary just before you got here, I okayed $39,000 worth of accounts payable for the county this morning. 2 commissioners have to okay every bill, and I was able to get a printout. I saw it come up. I looked at everything. I okayed it, and so those got paid this morning.
Yeah. They keep marketing this as convenience.
So see, I understand that technology is really good.
It's a both and.
Yeah.
I mean, because we have to, watch it, look at it. Now, I'm going to say this, Mary. You said no AI for the students. I'm kind of old school. I'm not like there, but at some point in time, we're going to have to start introducing it to them.
High school.
My oldest son, Trey, it's younger than that. I mean,
it's right now. That's the Wild West characteristic I'm saying right now. The point is, you don't need career and job preparation until high school. What you need is child development.
True.
for preschool through middle school.
Well, I love the conversations. We got to have them
Is
because
there going to be a bill next year in 27?
Oh, yeah.
So you want to? We got
Well,
about
that's
5 more
Missouri.
minutes.
That's Missouri. But what I want to tell you about is from the West Coast to the East Coast, from the Los Angeles School District to the Baltimore City Schools. They are putting limits on laptops
Okay.
in the classroom.
Well,
And it's the districts doing it because the states haven't caught up with the damage that's being done to children at this point. You want to know about the harms? Everything from skeletal malformations of the skull from looking down all the time to myopia because they're holding the screens this far from their eyes to obesity because they're not going out to play. They're addicted to these screens. It is causing physical harm, not to mention what you can't see, and that is the lack of development of the cortex.
it's crazy.
And we have the evidence. We just
we
have
also
to
know the
we have to get this out to
social
the
skills,
policymakers.
not able to communicate as well.
We have to understand. It's not just the vendors making sure their products have hooked the kids. The vendors are hooked on the money, and they're going to fight this tooth and nail. So, as parents, if you can't move your district or your state fast enough because there's a limited window of time for childhood, you have to take control, parents. You have to opt out of this stuff and let your children develop in not just physically but emotionally. If you want social emotional health, get them off those screens because they need to socialize with human beings. And they need to interact and develop relationship skills that you can't develop with an AI bot. Okay? And this is what's happening with the kids, is that it's safe to have a bot tell you you're right all the time. And that's what they do. They affirm.
Hey, Mary, your topic is very interesting.
Oh, you're going to cut me off.
Think about this, though. You guys remember the first laptops that came in our schools?
You mean
they
for
were
students
free.
or teachers?
For students. For students
Yeah.
were free.
Yes,
they were all
that's
free.
right. You know why?
They didn't well,
A drug dealer will do the same thing. It'll give you a couple samples.
I told people back then, I was a state rep back then,
Yeah.
and I told people, I said, you watch this. The first set of computers, laptops will be free.
Yep.
Maybe the second one will be free or reduced. But these are billionaires that own these companies.
That's right.
How do you think they became billionaires? Do you think they're going to continue to give their product free? So once they get schools, and they do, now
It's a
they have
hook.
schools
Yeah.
addicted to the technology. We know it's important and it's good, and now we need to modify it and have some controls put on it. So
That's right.
So very good. Hey, I tell you what, I want to talk about our sponsors, and then we'll do last words, okay? So our two sponsors is Brad Pistow, Certified Fiduciary Financial Planner, located in Ozark, Missouri on North Farmer Road. I tell you what, he is one of the recognized best in the entire country. I know we got 50 states, but
I
he's
love his smile every time I see that.
well,
picture.
he's licensed in 18 states, which is amazing that he's licensed in that many states. But he has associates, friends of his that he could recommend in all the other states. He's written 2 books, Safe Money Matters and Bulletproof. He's got so much knowledge he could write probably 50 books and help people out. But you can call 417-581-9222, 417-581-9222. Lisa's going to answer the phone. There's no charge to talk to Brad Pistow. Okay, no charge. And he will help you. And if he can't help you, he'll find somebody that will help you. He has plans that honestly is the most amazing thing for us seniors as we get older. As we get older, most people worry about running out of money before they run out of their life. I see that even with myself as complications in my life have come up and very expensive. And at the same time, you're wondering, wow, did I save enough money? Did I save enough money? How long am I going to live? and things like this. Well, you don't want to have to worry about that after you've worked your whole life. And so he has plans to help you set up programs that you'll never run out of money before you run out of your life. Okay? And so I highly, highly recommend him. And his son also is a stockbroker, so I do still continue to buy stocks. I make investments. I do buy gold. Be sure and look up gold, because gold and silver are still going up. But there's lots of things that you can do. And then they also have a Medicare specialist. And obviously, when you get to be 62, you better start thinking about Medicare and the things that you can do with Medicare and Social Security and things like that. So very important. He'll help you with all of those. The other sponsor is Youngblood. Used to be Youngblood Motors. Now it's Springfield Nissan, Springfield Kia. Still John Whittaker. John Youngblood retired. Now we have Aaron Swanson as the sales manager. And I just bought a car last September, Labor Day. Kia Sorrento, and you bought a Nissan Rogue in April.
Yes.
And we both love our cars. You said you've got, your wife has a Kia that she loves. I tell you what, these guys, and I know you're going to say, well, they're located in Springfield, Missouri on South Campbell. They have new cars on one side and used cars on the other. You're going, well, I don't even live anywhere close to Springfield. Well, if you live within 8 states of Missouri, they sell cars from people in all 8 states right around Missouri area. So they're going to help quite a few people. And they specialize not just in some of the best cars at the best prices, but they also specialize in service. And so their phone number is 417-882-3838. 417-882-3838. And get this, Susan will always answer the phone. I pay attention. I'm an old guy that pays attention to customer service. So when somebody answers the phone and acts genuinely happy that you're calling them and can tell you exactly how to get to the person you want to reach, it always works 100% of the time. That's Springfield Nissan, Springfield Kia with Susan. And you can do that. Right now, they have 0% interest for 48 months. I'm getting ready to buy a car in the next 2 or 3 days for my wife and trade her car in. So we're probably going to be buying a Kia Sportage, and it's a smaller SUV than what I drive. And I think that's what we're going to do. So we've looked around, and that's apparently what we're going to probably do this weekend. So anyway, highly recommend these two. Now, we've got a little bit of time left. Last word for you, and then we'll do last word. What do you want to tell people today?
Hey, just get out and vote. Know what's going on. Educate yourself, and get out and make your plan. It's our civic duty. People died so that we can have the right to vote. And if you don't vote, then you're giving away your opportunity to have your voice be heard. So I don't care. Make a plan. Get out and vote next Tuesday, August 4th.
Very good. And I would say one step further, after your candidate of choice is elected, don't let them sleep until they have limited technology in the classroom. That happens at the legislative level. They can pass bills. If your Department of Ed is dependent on that federal money because they're addicted too, it's the legislature that can correct that path. So stay engaged after the election.
Well, very good. Both of you, very good endings. And I'll just say, we just got a few minutes left, couple minutes. I want to say this. I've noticed friends of mine. I have a lot of friends. My wife says I don't have 5,000-6,000 friends on Facebook like my phone says, but I think I do.
They're all bots.
I think I do. But I'll tell you something that worries me about our country. We have a lot of friends that obviously right now you got opposition, you got primaries going on, and so you got good people running, and you may like one better than the other. But I just wish some of the people in Christian County and around Southwest Missouri would be a little bit more careful about postings on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, because I'm getting kind of tired of people that I've known for 40 or 50 years in Christian County now that has some pretty hateful things to say to me or other people, and I try to stay off of it, okay? but I see it with my family. And when you affect my family and you say negative things about my family, that kind of bothers me. I'm kind of a neutral guy. Since I'm in office, I try not to be very outspoken, but I just wish people would be a little bit more tolerant. Just like you said, Alex, we have so many veterans that are alive today and so many that died to give us the freedoms to vote and speak what we believe. Freedom of speech. Please, guys, if you don't agree with somebody, you don't have to say something negative to everybody that's on Facebook. Just look at it and go on and vote for whoever you want to. I'm happy with whoever you vote for. Just please do that. And be sure, like I said, Alex said this too, be sure and vote. Vote. We don't have good turnouts in our country for a lot of these April elections and primary elections. Then you have bigger turnouts in November. Come on. These are very important today. Yeah. These people are working hard as a candidate. They're going door to door. It's not cool outside. It's hot. Yeah. And so they're working hard, and they deserve people to go out and vote. Okay? Hey, we'll be back next week. Thanks for watching us today. Share this with all your friends and neighbors. Just let everybody know. Changing times. We care about you. We love you. We love God. We know that you're going to be okay, and we're going to be okay, and we'll be back next Wednesday. God bless.